Of course you have me to thank for it, Araka says. Hell, I've practically been saving your world every day for the past 600 years simply by choosing not to destroy it. I think you meant to say for the past 580 years, Iluna says. Unless you were implying that there was any possible way in which you could have threatened to destroy the world from inside the amulet. You would be surprised, Araka says. I'm sure I would, Iluna says in a dismissive tone. Hey Barry, do you have a minute? Melindra says from somewhere behind. I need to talk to you about something in private. Oh, hi Melindra, I say. I didn't know you came back. Sure, I've got a minute. I then follow Melindra away from the others while Hardrick and Araka continue their conversation in the background. Look, I wasn't suggesting that you should let the banshees kill all the women. I was thinking that maybe you'd find some other way to help them out. Well, I could put them out of their misery a little faster than the time it takes them to die on their own, if you want, Araka says. Would that be helpful enough for you? Damn it, you know what I mean. What I meant, Hardrick says. As soon as we get out of the earshot of everyone, Melindra begins to speak with a rather serious look in her eyes. Mary, you've known Kate for longer than I have, she says. How do you think she'd react if she felt somewhat betrayed by someone whom she considered to be her friends? We are talking about a purely hypothetical scenario here, of course, I ask her, knowing full well that she was in fact referring to herself. Yes, purely hypothetical. Oh, did she not get the person who has the pine cone thing? Melindra says, well, to answer your question, I say, the last time when Kate thought I had betrayed her, she pinned me against a tree and put a knife to my throat. Oh, Melindra says in a tone suggesting that it wasn't exactly the answer she would have liked to hear. And how did you manage to convince her that it was a misunderstanding? I used the power of love and friendship by talking things through in a rational manner. I didn't need to, she figured it out. No, I did talk to her as far as I remember. What was it? Yeah, she thought we were still winter or something like that, and then we just talked to her and told her about shit. And that's how it went, by talking things through in a rational manner. So you convinced her to not kill you just by talking, Melindra says. Yeah, I say. I mean, I don't think she would have gone through with it either way, but still, we did have a pretty long talk, I say. Melindra says, look, if you're not going to tell me anything specific, I won't be able to help you. I say, but what was it that you did which Kate might consider to be an act of betrayal? Does it have anything to do with those Lasethi you were acquainted with? It's more complicated than that, Melindra says. Well, when she put the knife to my throat, she thought I was in leagues with the Lasethi too because of my lineage, I say. But we managed to work things out eventually. I'm sure you can too, as long as you're sincere about it. I see no reason why Kate wouldn't. Hey guys, we're back. Darren shouts from a distance as he and Kate are slowly approaching us. We got good news. Where's Hardrick? I want him to help me try something. He's down by the river having a chat with Araka, I tell Darren in a loud voice. Where have you two been? I asked Kate if she could fly around on her ice platforms and throw rocks at me from all angles. Darren says, I managed to block them all with my magical barrier. It's amazing. I never thought that my shield spell would ever work this well in my lifetime. Oh right, so Jiren probably fixed his magic thing because he has an issue with shields and whatnot. Nice, I say. So this means that Jiren, or whatever his name was, fixed the Jiren kind of sounds like Jiren from Dragon Ball Super. Or whatever his name was, fix the link between the two of you, right? How strong do you think your shield is against physical attacks compared to what you can do against magical attacks? Is it anywhere near that level? That's what I intend to find out, Darren says, as he now reaches me and begins to shout for Hardrick. Hey Hardrick, can you come out for a second? We also have a strength 3, so we could try punching it. I want to test something. Yeah, I'll be right there. We hear Hardrick's voice, then he walks out from behind the tree into the clearing that we were in. What's going on? Hardrick asked Darren as he gets closer to us. Flower is now coming towards us as well, with Araka's amulet around her neck. Okay, so I guess we have to take Flower with them because they have to dissipate his Araka's explosion spell. Hardrick, Darren says, I want you to hit me as hard as you can. Give me your best punch. Come on. As he's saying this, Darren is taking a defensive stance and his shield is in front of him with a semi-transparent barrier surrounding him. As hard as I can, Darren says. I don't think this is such a good idea. Nonsense, Darren says. I can take it. Show me what the best you got. Okay, here's how you're going to do this. I'll start with one of my weaker punches first. If you can handle that, we'll move up from there. Does that sound good to you? Fine, but hurry, Darren says. I'm shivering with anticipation. Alright then, Darren says, as he readies his punch. Here we go. Not before we go, okay? As soon as Hardrick's first fist hits Darren's shield, there's a loud clanging noise from when he hits the metal, but despite the rather considerable force, Hardrick seems to have been put behind his weaker punch. What? Considerable force that Hardrick seems to have put behind his weaker punch. Darren didn't move a 1 inch from his original position. Well, I'll be damned, Hardrick says with a grin. Okay, Darren, you've convinced me. I'm going to give you one of my best punches. You better not disappoint me. I wouldn't dream of it, Darren says. This is so much fun. Just like slogging each other, that's fun. This time, Hardrick brings his arm all the way back in order to make sure that his next attack would live up to Darren's high expectation. When his fist finally hits Darren's shields again, the sound that the shield makes is so loud that it makes birds fly from the trees. The noise just keeps on going for about another 10 seconds, but the shield vibrates continuously from the strength of the punch. Darren was pushed back almost 30 inches or so by the impact of the hit, but for the most part he stood his ground, unless he sustained any non-visible injuries that I'm unaware of. He seems to be completely unharmed. Hardrick laughs. So this is what the healer in armor is like when all his limitations have been removed. I've been dreaming of a moment such as this. The power that I could finally test my powers against a world-renowned hero who is able to fight me at his full strength. How about it, Darren? Would you be interested in ditching this training session for a full-on sparring match instead? I was actually going to ask you the same thing, Darren says. Just give me a minute so I can get on this armor. Oh, Hardrick says, this should be interesting. It takes about 2 minutes or so. With a little help from us, Darren manages to take off all the pieces of his armor off, leaving himself dressed only in a green, short-sleeved, green tunic that he was wearing underneath, a pair of brown pants and his boots. Once everything has been prepared and the rest of us are way out of the way, the fight can finally begin. First thing that Hardrick does is to dash straight to Darren to see if he can overwhelm him with his inhuman speed. Normally, I would have expected Darren to use this newfound ability to block the dwarf's attack head on, but instead what he does is that he casually steps out of the way, even if he shouldn't have had any time to react to that without his reflexes somehow being magically enhanced. You thought I didn't expect a surprise dash right at the beginning of the battle, Darren says with a half grin. Come on there, Hardrick, you know me better than that. I've been watching you fight for weeks. You're going to have to be a little more unpredictable if you actually want to win this. Hardrick says, I should have known that you wouldn't let me end the fight so quickly. But what if I do this? He then jumps towards Darren, trying to hit him with his fist. Once again, Darren steps out of the way once more, making it look like he were expecting this attack as well. Seeing that surprises don't seem to work on his opponent, Hardrick decides instead to strike many times in quick succession in order to give Darren as little time as possible to outmaneuver him. To all of our surprise, Darren moves flow like water from one another, avoiding one punch after the other without letting himself get hit even once. His new style of combat looks like a combination between his style of the old master Noldoran and that of Aiden. I see Darren is combining his many years of combat experience with what I taught him but auras in order to read his opponent's moves and predict his attacks before they happen, Araka says. Not bad, maybe I didn't waste all that time teaching him for nothing. After seeing that none of his attacks are connecting, Hardrick decided to change his strategy a little and to employ the same tactic that he used against Gontruck in his last battle, changing his body size proportions constantly in order to confuse his dueling partner. From what I can tell, this one does seem to have an effect on Darren, likely because he hadn't really had the chance to see Hardrick fight in his new style for very long, making it a lot harder to predict. After a few very close calls, Darren is eventually forced to go on the defensive, blocking a lot more hits with his shield than he did before. What shield? I guess he's still using shield, but he forgot the armor. On the other hand, Hardrick isn't letting Darren's sword get anywhere near him, knowing full well that it could easily cut through his hardened aura hardening and his tough giant skin, even if Darren is not aiming for any of his weak points. This carefulness of his around Darren's weapon makes some of his strikes weaker than they should be due to him being caught on the wrong footing half of the time. It looks like it won't be long until Darren concedes, Kate tells us. What are you talking about? Flower says. Why would he give up? He's totally winning. He looks like he's not winning at first, but he was winning at first, but not anymore, Kate says. As soon as he started going on the defenses, the fight was lost to him. I think Flower is right. Hardrick will be the one to lose. Now, Darren, I'm with Kate on this one. I can't see Hardrick losing this battle. Are we all watching the same fight? It feels like it'll end a draw to me. Interesting. Well, His weapon does give him an edge, but considering I don't know if Darren would be able to immediately switch to a new fighting style. As far as we know, if he has seen it, maybe, but like if it's immediate, he is not known for like quick improvisation. Our character is known for quick improvisation, but he is not. So I think, yeah, Hardrick. I just can't see Hardrick losing this battle. Yeah.